Hello everyone. Welcome to chapter 72 of The Last Thoughts of a Busy Mind. This one titled Contradictory Thoughts. It's pretty self-explanatory. I really practiced on contradictory so that I can pronounce it properly, and then I fumbled at explanatory. Before we get into it though, our drink today is just some regular Coke Zero. I have a bottle here. I've put some in a cup. Let me take a sip. It's not very cold. I should bring some ice. Oh, I have a bigger mug there. I'm gonna put ice in that after I record this. Secondly, the Jafar Khan video, I have good news and bad news. Good news for myself and bad news if you are listening to this and want to see that video like right now. The video is done. I've exported it. I have the file, and by the time this episode comes out, that video will be uploading. So yeah, that is exciting, but it takes some time. I need to do the description, the subtitles, all of that. So it's gonna take some time. So it will probably come out tomorrow, meaning Friday evening or Saturday. Oh, I'm recording this at 12:30 a.m. So yeah, again, it is barely Friday, but it counts. Is it Friday though? Yes, it is Friday. The third thing is, during the week, I was a guest on the podcast Because We Are Not the Same. I do recommend checking the podcast out. I had an incredible time at it. We talked about some interesting stuff. Some of that I will mention. And a thought that sort of happened in my head, which led to other stuff, which led to contradictory thoughts. But I had a ton of fun. When the episode comes out, I will put a link to it in the description. But in the meanwhile, go ahead, check the podcast out. It was incredible. And I'm sure you can find a number of great interviews on there. Again, that was a great experience. We talked mostly about life, though. It wasn't like those a specific movie podcasts where I'm talking about it's a very specific movie, let's talk about movie making. It was more about life in Iran and the life of a movie maker rather than the art of a movie maker. It was interesting. So after that, honestly, this chapter I was going to talk about some shows. I wanted to talk about Pam and Tommy and how that made me feel. Because it made me feel really bad. But I'm not going to, because after that episode, I realized something. One of the things, and this is a bit of a teaser, you're gonna listen there, is that I talk about how I can't work because it is very expensive to make a movie in Iran, which my movie was cancelled because of budgetary issues, and how I don't have an audience. And yet I started to talk about how it is a relatively cheaper way to make movies nowadays, and how because of the social media and the age of information, it's easier to find your audience anywhere in the world. These two seemingly contradictory thoughts I believed at the same time. I know it's something from 1984 for you. I should have looked it up. I do have a copy of it somewhere in my room. Oh no, not in this room. It's in the other room. I know it has a thing. I think it's got double think, but yeah, you believe two contradictory thoughts about something, and this is actually true about my next example that I've written down, which is my course manager, the idiot called Masoud Soflai. Again, is he an idiot or is he malicious? Because I believe the two things at the same time. I believe this guy is so inept that he can't do anything, yet he's so malicious that he actively is sabotaging everything. So which one is it? And I know there are more to it, and I'll get to that. But these contradictory thoughts together, they sort of put me in a weird spot in my head. Uh, because I realized that, so even if you believe that, again, I'm going back to working, I'm not going to go to Souffle because I don't want to think about him. My university problems are far from over. And it is because of this guy. He's so, again, inept and malicious at the same time. But let's go back to making movies. So if I believe that I can make movies relatively cheap and I have an audience that I can reach at any time, why am I not making it? What's the problem? So my first thought was, my ego is so fragile that I sort of think that I need to. I'm not making it because I'm lazy, basically. The problem is, I don't believe that. I don't believe I am lazy. I know I do have issues. I get discouraged incredibly fast. I do have concentration issues. But I don't think I'm lazy. I am making stuff. Again, this podcast, and I'm saying it just, because someone else said it to me. A lot of people would have just given up on it. And I've had times where I wanted to give up, but again, I am a persistent motherfucker. So I don't think I'm lazy. So why is it that I'm not making anything? The answer is, to me at least, thinking about it for a couple of days, is that I feel trapped. I've talked about this before numerous times, but I feel trapped in my own head, in my body, in Iran, And because of that, just thinking all of these contradictory thoughts makes me come to ease with that, It's just, it's sort of the same, not really, but sort of the same. When people tell me in my drinks, I drink a lot of sugary stuff, people say, you know how harmful they are. I do know, actually. Diabetes is like fear for me. I do know that. I know the reason I am unhealthy is these sugary drinks. But believe me, I do know that with my heart, and I do believe it, and I do recommend nobody do the things that I do. My addiction to sugar is not good. So why do I keep doing it? Because I believe that it's not that big of a deal. I haven't had any problems so far, and any times I've given a blood test, my blood sugar wasn't very high, so I'm not even at risk of diabetes. I'm at risk of triglycerin, I don't know what that is, and other risks, but I'm not at the risk of diabetes. So is it a big deal or is it not a big deal? It's both at the same time, because my brain sort of feels trapped, and it's basically, I'm making my own cages. I'm making these tiny little cages so that I forget that I am living in the bigger one. And because of that, my brain believes in these two contradictory thoughts and believes in them in equal amounts. Yeah, sugary drinks are bad, but not a big deal. I can work and make a movie and have it shown everywhere, but at the same time, movies are very expensive, and I don't have any audience for my movies. Masud Souffle is both an idiot and a malicious villain. So, basically, to put it simply, what is the next step then? I don't know. That's as far as I thought. Part of it is my brain can't handle focusing on the contradictions and the fact that they are contradictions. Because I feel trapped. I cannot be myself. There are a number of reasons. Some of them I cannot get into it because they are too personal. Uh, when have that ever deterred me from oversharing? But you know what I mean. Some of you do. Anyways. And so I can't be myself, so I feel trapped. And because of that, my brain just makes these little contradictions and believes in them equally for me to basically keep on living the way I do, meaning in captivity. It's sort of my brain overloading its RAM so that I don't have time to think about, how fucked I am, how fucked the world is. I don't have to think about global warming if I am so entranced in, let's drink sugary content and feel bad about it. It's basically my own compliancy machine. Which is a big theme in the Jafar Khan video. By the way, Jafar Khan video, just a quick detour. It must be, I think, and that is a great sentiment for me to tell myself, each video is better than the last one. This one is less showy than the Sir Gawain one. Sir Gawain one was just big, like it was an epic video. This one is just long. It's not epic. It doesn't have as much flair to it, different scene changes and acts or stuff like that. This one mostly has just me talking, but the points that I'm making, I think, are much better developed than the Sir Gawain one, because this is something that I actually know, and so when I started researching, I knew exactly where to go. The Sir Gawain one, I was just thrown into it. I didn't know the poem, I didn't know many of the movies, so I just went along. But this one, I've had a whirlwind of experience, so I just went into it. So I do recommend you checking it out. It will probably be in the description next week. But go to AK88 Studios and watch my videos. So basically, okay, so let's break down one of these contradictions. They're working or not, because it's a thing that I read. I told you, things are expensive. My movie got cancelled because of budgetary issues, and I don't have an audience. Yet at the same time, you can make a very cheap movie, and your audience is international because you live in the world of information. So why am I not making anything? Why is these both contradictions presented equally, but one of them seems to be heavier? It's because I live in Iran. I don't have an audience here. I don't have an Iranian audience. And so I feel discouraged to make something because, okay, who am I going to show it to in my immediate vicinity? I definitely can't make a feature film because, okay, I need to do something domestically before at least find capital for me to send it internationally. So, yeah. That's why I can't make it. So I need to make short movies. And I've talked about it before. There are a lot of insecurities surrounding that I'm not going to get into. You can listen to them in both. Let me see then. Chapter number. I should have written this down before, It's chapter... Holy shit, that was like back in season 2, I think. Holy fuck. Chapter 27, Imposter. I talk about how I feel like I'm not a good director. And you can see a lot of the... Okay, fuck me. And in chapter 68, you can, one insecure SOB, you can listen to me talk about some of my insecurities. So, it is also a question of insecurity, but mainly I'm basically making this up for myself. Truth is, yeah, making a movie is relatively cheap, but if you want to make a good movie, it's not. You need to pay for equipment, you need to pay for the crew, you need to pay for all of them. You might say, oh, but there are low budget movies made every day. And that is true. I really don't have anything to say other than, well, Real is absolutely worthless. So, yeah, give me like $7,000 and I'll make a movie in Iran. But the budget I have is like $100. So, I think it is actually $100. No, it's $1,000. So how am I going to make a good movie that conforms to my standards and yet is not too exuberant? And because I don't have an audience, I can't really go out and try to find my way in Iranian cinema and say, okay, I'm gonna write for you, because I can't write what they want from me. I can't write a socio political story about a family in Iran who has a drug problem. That doesn't interest me. I want to make a Western. I want to make a music. I want to make Man of La Mancha. And I don't have an audience for that. You might say, well, why am I saying what you might say? You tell me what you might say. There are ways of contacting me. You can send me a message on Anchor, and your message will be played at the beginning of the next episode. Did you dig that segue? And you might shape a whole episode with your comment. But if you do not have an Anchor account and you still want to contact me, if you're listening to this on Castbox, I'm saying Castbox because in the last episode I talked about it. I finally opened the notification. You can send me a comment there, and I will read your comment. If not, you can go to YouTube and on Ali Khamseh, Ali KHAMSEH YouTube channel, or just I'm sure if you listen to this on anywhere, should be a link to the YouTube channel. Go there and comment there. I have an email, a business email, contact akhmseh88@gmail.com. You can send me an email. Anyways, you tell me. As I said, I am stuck. And one of the things that I see help me, again, with this exact contradictory thought, the thing that helped me realize it, the thing that started this whole thing, was me talking to someone in an interview. So the thing I realized helped me a lot is hashing it out, talking about it with friends, with people online, with relatives, with anyone, and try to understand it. And so let's do that. Let's understand this fucking crazy world together. Because when I realized that, when I was thinking about the podcast interview, and I realized, oh, these are two very contradictory things, and yet I said them with the exact same resolve and tone. So, which one is it? And that started this whole thing. The end result is the same. I cannot find my way out of it, because still, after talking about this for 19 minutes, the whole cycle is still there. I still do believe in these very contradictory things. I am not doing it, consciously instead of subconsciously. So that's an improvement. And by the way, if you're listening this ringing noise in the background, it's my laptop fan. The poor guy has been through a lot, exporting a very long video and editing constantly. This little boy is gonna die pretty soon, I'm sure. Hopefully I can get a new one. And so yeah, by the way, I watched the Font Slime video on Gary Vee, and I do have another set of insecurities which we'll talk about next week.